Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Bright Founders Talk at Temy. Now, Temy is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast, where we bring you the most inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. And each week, we interview successful leaders who share their unique journeys and valuable insights. I'm your host, Barry, and today we have another amazing guest joining us, Gerhard Kürner, co-founder at Choose European and founder and CEO at 506.ai. Hello, Gerhard. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Hello, Barry. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
It's our pleasure. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day. We know you're very busy, so we do appreciate that. Now, for people who don't have the pleasure of knowing you or your companies, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and the companies that you work at?
Yes, of course. As you said, my name is Gerhard Kürner. I founded and run 506.ai. I founded that company in January 2020. This was the shortest time period, 3 months, and then everything was closed. So nobody thought that 3 months later we never will see us the next couple of months. And in that area, also AI was, let me say, something for nerds. Nobody had any clue about that. It was pretty hard to explain people what we do in that. I have also, I think, before that, a long time of technology experience from startups, small companies, large companies. I was 15 years in First Alpine. First Alpine is the largest technology and steel company in Austria. In that time, the company grew from 3.5 billion to 12 billion. So was quite hell of a ride in that area because a lot of that was mergers and acquisition in the automotive area. And I can explain it very long back because my first computer that I had, we have that funny situation in the company that I said the first time when I sat on a computer was in that time that even the parents of my employees even didn't know each other because it was 1983. In 1983, as a child, I found the first computer in that area. It was the Commodore VC20. It was the predecessor from the VC64. And so there was a long way about technology, entrepreneurship. My parents are entrepreneurs. My grandparents are entrepreneurs. So I'm coming from a family who everybody has something in a business running. So it was really, really long, and it was always this, let me say, interesting in technology and how can technology help people do their jobs better.
So I actually do remember the Commodore 464. I'm old enough to remember that, Gerhard.
Yeah, the 20 was before. It's the smaller one, 3.5K.
I'm not that old, so I do remember the CPU, the 464. So let's talk about Choose European first. So who is Choose European for?
Yeah, Choose European, I founded this with Endre Dingsør from Norway, a great guy. And we said from both sides of the Alps, from the Norwegian mountains and the Austrian mountain, we relatively easily found out that we have a dependency on the US technology, which is not very new. It was there the last couple of decades. And normally people don't care about that. And we said that we have to do something against it because it's not against US, it's against the dependency. And before some of Trump's actions, we thought that we have to do something because I'm coming from the AI technology industry. And in the cloud industry, we have, let me say, more or less 80% in US services against the AI services, in which we have, let's forget Mistral a little bit, 99%. And that's not very healthy. And this will be a competitive problem for the European continent. So Andre and I started to found Choose European, the chooseeuropean.eu website, because very often IT heads, CIOs, and everybody in that area said, oh, okay, I have to buy at, let's say, Microsoft or something there. And we said, no, there is a lot of possibilities in technology from Europe. You have to search, sometimes a little bit smaller, but it's not so as you see, and you can use it from here. Because the main problem that we in Europe have is not the mostly discussed thing. Too less money, maybe not a common market. Yes, also of course, and a lot of other stuff. Our main problem in Europe is that European companies buy not in Europe. That's quite easy. They buy US technology. It's not a problem, but they buy mostly US. 350 billions yearly on license fees from the US. So we do not have any industry in which we do have this dependency on one, let me say, supplier. So, and we have to do something because most of the technology companies in Europe, they do not need money, people, or whatever. They need sales. They need contracts. They need orders. It's quite easy. And that's the reason why Andre and I founded it. It's a non-profit organization. Andre did it in Norway. I did it in Austria. He is a speaker, well-known speaker in the industry there, in the whole Nordic area, and also on the government side, because his sister is working for the government. And I do it mainly Austria, Germany, and Switzerland, because I'm also very good known in that area, also in the media industry. So we started last year to bring this issue on top of the mindset of European IT budget decision makers.
Yeah, well, like Europe has like an incredibly rich, like especially Germany, but rich engineering talent. Why do you think we as Europeans have struggled so much to compete with more international parties, particularly the US?
Oh, wow. I think we need a couple of hours to discuss that. It's not possible.
We have 25 minutes.
Oh my God. We have several problems. One is, and I have done, I think, more than 1,000 meetings the last 3 years in the case of AI with enterprises. I last month, I saw it in my calendar, 1,000 meeting, and you see it very, very clear. On one hand, we are deep in regulation, and I do not mean regulation is bad, but the regulation is such unclear situation right now in the European Union that nobody can move in any direction. Quite hard, quite crazy, because when you take an US startup, even in the area of VAT, they start and they sell things, and after 6 or 12 months, they started thinking about VAT. So they did it 6 to 12 months later. If you do that in Austria, you are in jail within 1 month. So I do not want to have that, but this is one case. The second case is we have a real huge problem that we have not a common financial market, because a lot of the money and a lot of the market area in the US is because you have focused places where money and liquidity is, and we do not have it. The FTSE 100 in the UK is going down the last couple of years, Frankfurt, Paris, so we do not have this one. The second one is we do not have a common market, because everybody, when people discussing about we are 450 million people, and so that's a huge market, so forget it, that's bullshit. Because when I want to set up a company in Germany, I have personally drive to Regensburg, to the Gemeindecenter, to sign a paper letter that I can open a company there. So it's really a mess. And the most important one is European companies, and that's a problem in R&D and also in production. They do not buy at startups. In the US, I think from 100% in the R&D, 30% of the budget goes to tech startup. In European, zero. So there's no possibility there. And on the other hand, we also have very often the discussion only about risk. And yes, when you have a discussion only about risk, nobody and no young people will go and take risks. And you have full of risk. The possibility that you fail is nearly 95% in that area. And when you fail, the possibility to go to the next venture is also quite hard, because when you fail in Austria or Germany, you failed. You are a bad person. It's not the possibility, okay, this is failed, let's go to the next one. So a lot of stuff. But the most important is people should buy at technology companies in Europe, and everybody should try that we are really a common market and a common financial market. This would be the 3 major issues for me.
Do you think it's a cultural thing in terms of enterprise and business startups, or is it more just because of the regulation and laws that make it really entrepreneurially unfriendly?
No, yes, of course, all of them are a problem. So that's and we can't change them really. The best situation, because I do not want to answer you always in a negative way for the future. It's not my personality, and I hate it very much. Is you see very clear that the places in Europe where startup technology and all that stuff mostly is growing is the second generation of startup founders are going to business. You see that it's everything clear. It's in Munich, Paris, a lot of Russia. When you take a look, I think also in the Czech Republic. So if somebody founds a company, build it, exit it, and come back as an angel, as an investor, but with all the know-how, how to scale, how to build a really huge and fast startup, then with this know-how, the flywheel starts. Is this not there? In Upper Austria, we have Florian Schwantner. Florian is well known because he sold his company Rantastic to Adidas a couple of years ago. I think 220 million euros, so quite a lot amount. And Florian, I know him very well because in Upper Austria we know each other a little bit. He and his colleagues started to reinvest in other companies, and one of his reinvestment right now was Tractive, and Tractive was sold, I think, to Bending Spoons in the area of 950 million euros.
Oh, wow.
The last 2 or 3 months. Completely insane. And I'm quite sure that Michael Hurnos, the founder, will go on holiday a couple of weeks, 4 months. And then when he will come back, he will start over. And this circle, found who exited and help other ones, is so important because yes, of course, it is important to know how you do accounting and how you do all that stuff. But this is not really important. Really important is how to find customers, how to develop a product, and how to scale a company. And this only know normally a successful other startup entrepreneurs. And you have to bring them back. You see it in Munich. The TUM in Munich, they started, I think, 10 or 15 years ago. Everybody on the university, when you ask people on the Technische Universität München, everybody say, I want to found a company. When you go to an Austrian technology university and you ask them who will start a company, I think 50% said, I don't know. And the other 15% said no. And in the home area, everybody wants. So it's a huge, let me say, some sort of cycle which you have to start.
Yeah. So we do love talking about AI on this channel, and because we are pushed for time, I want to jump just to AI very briefly if I can. So we know the importance of AI, especially in terms of being a strategic technology. How important is it for Europe to develop its own AI capabilities? And what are the risks if we continue to rely on foreign AI infrastructure?
Okay, that's it. Now we are in my personal Grand Canyon of discussion. AI is not a single issue. In AI, we have a lot of things. On one hand is the discussion about models, the frontier models. And the frontier large models, we saw it in the last couple of weeks when Anthropic was forced by the government to shut down their Mythos class for all outside of the US. And they shut it also down for the US market for security reason. Yes, of course, there are security reasons in it. It's no question about that. I know it pretty well because it's a really, really strong model. But on the other hand, it's quite funny that right now the newest models from OpenAI are in the same situation as the Project Glasswing. So there is a limited group of people who can work before everybody else. And the funny thing is, this limited group are only Americans right now. So there's no outside. So you see also more or less stuff in it, which is geopolitical and not only technology. Quite funny about that is, I think we have, on one hand, you have Mistral. Yes, of course, on the larger model, Mistral can't compete, but you do not need every time the larger models. So we should push Mistral in every place. Mistral had a lot of small specialized model. The new OCR4 is better than anything else from Claude, from Anthropic, or from OpenAI. We use that also. And on the other hand, funny about that, the Chinese people will help us because the best situation right now is hosting on a really 100% European cloud center with an open source, not the right mention, the open weight model for ourselves. And what is extremely important is we had to push much more for cloud and for compute resources because people completely forget that if we do not have this power, it's no question about who and what kind of model have. When you do not have power plants, there is no question about electromobility. And right now we are in this year around about 700 billion on investments in data center, 700 billion in 1 year. And even if, let me say, half of them, 350, going bust, you have 350. And every resource which gets free on the market is captured. You saw it, Elon Musk built Colossus 1 and 2, one of the larger ones, 380 megawatts, completely insane. Didn't use it fully for Grok. So he sold it to Google and to Anthropic for around about 1 billion a month. And in that week, as Anthropic bought these resources, they told every Cloud user, now you can use Cloud 3 to 4 times more. So it's not the question about the bubble as we had it in the .com area, because in that era, it was a bet of the future. So I have dog food and I can sell it to everybody in the world. And this wasn't there. Right now, every resource is needed and is used. And the bottleneck behind them is not chips and all that stuff. It's pure power. And Europe, the weakest point on everything on AI is the power supply, because we do not have power supply right here. In Frankfurt area, it's not even possible to ask about building a data center, because the government said in the whole Frankfurt area, we do not have any power till 35, so the next 10 years. So it's quite horrible here. And I think this is the whole chain is important. And the question very often comes, but there are these smaller one who runs on mobile, and then the smaller one runs on your PC. Yes, of course, these are the smaller one. In your household, you have also a normal power for your lamp. But when you need power for your fabric, you need more than a model here or whatever. So I think the whole chain has to be built up faster and more intense, because this is the infrastructure of the future. It's like power, railways, highways, and all that stuff. It's a commodity. It will be a commodity. Intelligence in the theoretical will be a commodity. And this is the infrastructure for intelligence for our companies in the future and right now.
Wow, that sounds quite negative, doesn't it, really, in terms of where we are in this position? Can we ever catch up with America? I say we as Europeans. But basically, yeah, Silicon Valley, for example. Are we ever going to have a Silicon Valley in Europe?
I think catch up mirroring Silicon Valley is a bad thing, because we are not Americans. As I mentioned, there's a lot of things here, and not everything is bad. But right now, I think we do not have economy crisis. I think we are pretty clear in a deflation area. Even Germany don't mention it, but it's quite clear we have growth from 0.3, 0.4 growth. And when you keep out every government on jobs, we have zero, because this 0.3, 0.4 from the Central and Western European, not the Eastern, they are better, then we are in the middle of a deflation. And there is no growth coming the next couple of years on that. So it makes no sense to say we want to go in the direction that we have a Silicon Valley, a Silicon Munich, a Silicon Paris, or whatever. We have to step in where we have good possibilities, because the good possibilities would be we have much more talents than the US. We have 40,000 more IT people coming from university every year than the US. It's quite a small portion of what China have, but for that, we have to bring companies and resources from national government together, so that not everybody do all the same. As you see, Mistral has started cooperation with Greece and with a lot of other ones. And we have to stop bringing money from Europe to the US, because right now everybody's investing in the USA. The USA builds something and sell it then to us with our money. So, and we have to stop that in that area. And the specialists we have to buy European technology. Even it's not so easy in Microsoft for Copilot. You make only one check, and you have for 20 euros an employee and Copilot with him. Okay, spend 2-3 hours, 3-4 days in it in the supplement, and search companies like us or other one like in Germany or France or whatever. So please stop bring money to US. Please stop bring money to companies to US. Start here. That's quite easy. Then we can compete. My fear is not the US.
Yeah.
My fear, because on a broader industrial area, because the Europeans are not the best software guys. Sorry for that, but we normally in the past was the best industrial guys. And this is the main river of our, let me say, success in the past. And this river, the water in this river sank every year. And right now, it's not even that train from China. We have the first train in Austria from China, from a private company. It was a huge shitstorm about that. But in Germany and Switzerland, where the two only European train makers are sitting, you have to wait between 3 and 5 years to order it, not to get it, order it. And they got it in 2 years. And when you take a closer look to them, they're cheaper. And now it's kind of nobody wants here. They are better. They are not the cheap, not good quality. They are cheap and the same or better quality, lighter, faster, easier. And so forget it. And this is the more or less more important thing. And then you take a look to the main European or main German industry, like the car manufacturing. I think Porsche sell not even 1,000 911 in the last year there. So, and they buy, or when you ask people in Shanghai about the new Volkswagen, then there's a young guy said, yeah, it's a nice car. Yeah. I think it's the best car for my parents. So they had in mind, yes, that's nice for the older one, but we, the younger one, we buy Chinese cars. And so I think this is more or less the important thing. That says it's not only the question to bring everything about AI, software, and that up. We have to reorganize it and also bring up with AI, especially the whole production manufacturing industry.
Unfortunately, you've been so interesting that I've forgotten to talk about 506.ai. So let's quickly talk about that before I forget to do that. So 506.ai, who is it for, and what problem were you trying to solve? You may have kind of touched on that part.
Yeah, 506, we started a couple of years ago because in that area, there was only consumer tools like ChatGPT. There was not a real enterprise possibility for a secure, independent platform to bring AI capabilities in your companies, especially in mid-sized companies. So we started this. And after time, we also specialized in companies who are really, really aware about data security. That's the reason why we have the Stadt Wien, Karlsruhe. We have a lot of cities and governments and also health and financial companies who said, okay, we want to have a secure and extreme easy to use AI chat agents possibility inside, which people can manage without any IT knowledge. Because what I see is that most of the employees of companies, they give a shit about AI. They say, I have a lot of work to done in my daily business. I only have 10 minutes to try it. And if it's okay, then I use it. If not, then not. And use AI with 10 minutes is not okay. It will not run. And so we are the first company coming with technology and consulting on one hand, and we brought in a lot of possibilities, sharing templates, helping people with a system, now with agent, that they do not have the question about what kind of AI or model is in. They only, how can I solve my day-to-day businesses in that area? And I think in end of June right now, we will have the largest update because it's a fully agentic update, like OpenClaw. And so we started in January. We are in the public television about that. So this is the most interesting thing. And on the other hand is we have on one hand the public area, and we have a large consumption in the HR area because HR is completely a mess about data security. So nobody likes to bring in data to Anthropic or other ones. And we are completely focused on what enterprises, small and medium ones, need in the AI automation area.
Are companies just trying to put AI in without even thinking about what value AI is actually bringing? And is AI a good thing for every company?
You can see it like a train. The train is in the railway station. I open the door for you. I give a red carpet for you. And I said, Barry, I think it would be great. Come with us in the train. And you have the decision, and it's really, I mean it really, you have the decision to step in or not, because the train will leave in the next 5 minutes. And it's here. We see so much because every process that we right now see will be every process where information was moved from A to B is done in the future. Everything where you have different informations about different people is done for the future. So on the end of the day, it's like a nitro turbo engine on a normal engine which speed up every process. And if you're not in that game, you can't survive this speed. Let me explain it in the procurement area. You have the possibility also with our platform right now to say, normally when you make, let's say, a tender process for your suppliers, you make it once a year because it needs 40 days. You have to write all the lists and discuss with all the people, found a long list, found a short list, negotiation, etc., etc. Right now, automated, it needs not 40 days, it not 7 days. In half a year, it do not need 7 days, it needs 1 day. And in the beginning of next year, it needs 1 hour. So, and right now, everybody thought when it goes so fast, people are boring the rest of the day. No, the question is, if you need only 1 hour for negotiation, what normally needs 14 days, why the hell shouldn't I do it every month, every week possibility? Because when I will negotiate the best price, I do not make it for 1 year. I can do it every time. And if you're a supplier and you're not ready for that, you're out of order. You're out, completely out. And this will come. It's not the question how the organization will change, because companies with a lot of regulation can't change very fast and very quickly. But this pressure, sales, supplement, and all that stuff will bring every organization massively under pressure.
I love listening to you talk, Gerhard. I've got another 42 questions to go, but unfortunately, we are running out of time, so I'm going to limit it to just one more, if I may. So with your experience of setting up companies, being an entrepreneur, what advice, the best piece of advice that you could give to someone who is watching this and also wants to set up their own company for the first time?
Oh, it's quite easy. When you are interested, and the most important thing is, right now, everybody is discussing about AI. We think that it's only 2% of everybody who had a paid consumer tool. We have 20% who have the consumer tool without that. And then we have 10% who read about it and 50% never done it. We are in the bubble and we think everybody is using it. It's not the case. The easiest thing is that you have to build know-how in your company. It's not a question about tools. It's not a question about context windows and models and all that stuff. Learn how AI is functioning. And this is quite easy. Use not for your data security data. Use it for you to learn on one hand, like ChatGPT, Claude, and go away with chatting. That normally people knows a little bit, but this is not real AI. Go to, let me say, Anthropic co-work, where agentic processes are running. And you have to bring up skills and all that stuff to understand what is the difference between a chat that normal people know and agents. And when you see what agent can do, start bringing a governance in your company to say who is in order to bring AI in my company, to learn, to bring it in the organization. You have an HR guy to say, yes, we have a resource in the company. It must not be a technology guy or woman, but you have to bring it in. You build up a governance about AI in your company and start yesterday.
Perfect advice. Amazing. So interesting. Gerhard, again, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
That was Gerhard Kürner, co-founder at Choose European and founder and CEO at 506.ai.